What's up, everybody? This is Tech G back with another video to help you successfully pass the CompTIA Security Plus certification exam. So let's get into it. In this video, we're going to have a detailed discussion on how to modify enterprise capabilities to enhance security. We're going to cover key aspects of securing an enterprise environment, aligning with the CompTIA Security Plus 701 exam objectives. We're going to talk about firewalls, IDS, IPS, web filters, operating system security, secure protocols, DNS filtering, email security, file integrity monitoring, DLP, NAC, EDR, XDR, and user behavior analytics. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is firewalls. So firewalls, they are the gatekeepers of your network, and they have rules that dictate what traffic is allowed in or out. So for instance, you can create rules to allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic, but block FTP traffic. And you can create rules to restrict access to specific subnets to internal IP ranges. But you always want to remember to follow the principle of least privilege when configuring these rules. So you only want to permit only what is necessary. The next we have what are called access lists. So access control lists, or ACLs, they are critical for managing firewall permissions, and they can define which IP addresses or ranges can access specific resources, and it can also specify which ports and protocols are allowed. So for example, you might allow only internal users to SSH into a server by restricting it to the 10.0.0.0/24 subnet. The next we have what are called ports and protocols. So understanding ports and protocols is vital. You want to block unnecessary ports like Telnet, which uses port 23, and instead use SSH or Secure Shell, which uses port 22. And then we also have a concept called screen subnets, which are also known as DMZs, or demilitarized zones. And these are isolated zones that host public-facing services like web servers. And screen subnets, they add a layer of protection by ensuring that breaches in the DMZ do not extend to the internal network. All right, next let's talk about intrusion detection and prevention systems. So modern IDS, IPS solutions, they are adapting to emerging threats with behavioral analytics and AI-driven threat detection. Also in regards to IDS, IPS are signatures. So signature-based detection, this compares traffic patterns to known threat signatures. So you want to regularly update these signatures to stay ahead of new attack vectors. Next, let's talk about web filters. So within web filters, let's talk about agent-based and centralized proxies. So an agent-based solution, this resides on individual devices, providing localized control, and centralized proxies, they act as an intermediary for all web traffic, offering global control and monitoring. And then we have what is called URL scanning and content categorization. And these feature things like blocking known malicious URLs and categorizing content into predefined groups, such as gambling or social media. Then we have block rules and reputation. So web filters, they can block based on specific URLs or domains. And it can also block on the reputation of the site as determined by threat intelligence feeds. Next, we have what is called operating system security. And the first concept we're going to talk about is group policy. So group policy in Windows environments, this allows centralized management of password policies, application restrictions, and network configurations. And then we have what is called SE-Linux. And SE-Linux, this provides mandatory access controls for Linux systems, enforcing security policies even if applications are compromised. Next concept is secure protocols, and within that we have protocol and port selection. So you want to use secure protocols like HTTPS instead of HTTP, and also you want to use SSH instead of Telnet, and you want to select ports that align with your firewall rules and limit exposure. And then we have what are called transport methods. So you want to encrypt data in transit using protocols like TLS. You want to avoid plain text transmission whenever possible. All right, next let's talk about DNS filtering real quick. So DNS filtering, this prevents access to malicious domains by monitoring and filtering DNS queries, and it's an effective tool for blocking phishing sites and malware hosting domains. And then that leads us into email security. And we have concepts like DMARC, DKIM, and SPF. Where SPF, this specifies which mail servers can send emails on behalf of your domain. DKIM, this adds a cryptographic signature to validate the sender. And DMARC, this builds on SPF and DKIM, defining how receiving servers should handle unauthorized emails. And then we have what is called gateway security. So email gateways, they can scan incoming and outgoing emails for threats like spam, malware, and phishing attempts. All right, moving on to file integrity monitoring. So file integrity monitoring tools, they track changes to critical system files, alerting admins to unauthorized modifications. So for example, changes to configuration files like etc password on Linux should be logged and reviewed. Then that leads us into data loss prevention, or DLP. So DLP solutions, they prevent unauthorized data exfiltration by monitoring email attachments for sensitive information, blocking USB devices, and encrypting files before transfer. All right, next, let's quickly talk about network access control. And this ensures that only authorized and compliant devices can access the network. It checks device health, user authentication, and compliance with security policies. And then that leads us to EDR, or endpoint detection and response, and extended detection and response, or XDR. So EDR, this focuses on detecting and responding to endpoint specific threats. And XDR, this extends this into correlating data across endpoints, networks, and servers, and using AI to identify sophisticated attacks. And then we have what is called user behavior analytics. So user behavior analytics tools monitor activity patterns, detecting anomalies like unusual login times and accessing sensitive files outside of normal hours. All right, so in conclusion, enhancing enterprise security is about layering defenses and staying proactive. From configuring firewalls to leveraging EDR and user behavior analytics, every step fortifies your organization against potential threats. So I hope this video has clarified these critical concepts and prepared you for real-world applications, as well as passing your Security Plus exam. So with all that being said, let's do some check on learning. So the first question is, which of the following firewall configurations is used to define and enforce specific traffic rules between network segments? Would it be an access list? Would it be a screen subnet? Would it be a universal resource locator scanner? Or would it be file integrity monitoring? And the correct answer is it will be an access list. So access lists are firewall configurations used to define rules that permit or deny traffic based on criteria like IP addresses, ports, and protocols. They are a foundational tool for segmenting and protecting networks. Screen subnets are related to DMZs. URL scanning pertains to web filters, and file integrity monitoring, this tracks changes to files, not firewall rules. Next question, which technology is designed to block malicious email messages by verifying the authenticity of email senders? Is it intrusion detection system? Is it a sender policy framework? Is it domain name system or DNS filtering? Or is it data loss prevention? And the correct answer is it will be SPF, or Sender Policy Framework. So SPF, this is an email authentication technique that allows domain owners to specify which mail servers are authorized to send email on their behalf. This helps prevent email spoofing and phishing attacks. IDS, this detects network anomalies. DNS filtering, this blocks malicious domains. And DLP, this prevents sensitive data from being exfiltrated. And our final question, what is the primary purpose of endpoint detection and response solutions in enterprise security? Is it for scanning web URLs for malicious content? Is it for detecting and responding to advanced threats on endpoints? Is it for filtering network traffic at the DNS level? Or is it for managing operating system security policies? And the correct answer is it is for detecting and responding to advanced threats on endpoints. So EDR solutions, they focus on detecting, investigating, and responding to suspicious activities and threats on endpoints like computers and mobile devices. They provide advanced threat detection and mitigation capabilities. URL scanning, DNS filtering, and operating system security management are separate technologies.